Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to Sondering Tarot. And if you're new to my channel, hi, hello. We're going to go through some new decks to my collection. This is going to be for the first quarter of 2023. I've got enough decks, so we're just going to jump right in here and see what we have. Pardon me, I'm going to zoom you in. I hope it's not disorienting towards you. We have the Secret Language of Animals Oracle cards. This is by Chip Richards. I will be doing full flip throughs of every deck I'm going to show you. This is more of a preview, just so you know what new items I have an influx of. Lovely backings. I believe it or not, do not have a big spot in my collection that has animal energy in it. So needing an oracle that would tap into this energy, this is what I was drawn to. So this is my first purchase in that area. And if you have this deck, let me know how you like it, what you hate about it. Or any other deck that might pair well with this that could maybe help or do the job better. I'd be interested to know. I'm actually quite excited to try and use that one. So it will be probably featured on my channel after I do a quick flip through, which is not yet filmed. And at the same time, to pair with that, we have the beautiful Beast Tarot. This is by Studio Raine Tarot. Piece of serpentine on it. This was a Kickstarter deck. I've had this for a little while, and I have not touched it other than to flip through it. And because I knew I was getting this tarot deck, that's why I bought the Oracle, just to have something to pair with it. These are my tarot oracle decks to fill that whole animal beast-like energy that has been missing from my collection. I knew there was a gap and I sought to fill it, and well, I was attracted to this deck, even though a lot of people will say it's a pip deck. It's also an animal deck. And I've been exploring more pip decks. So this hits a double point for me to explore more pip decks and to try to read more intuitively, as well as animal energy. So I'm hoping to pair this well with the Secret Language of Animals Oracle and see how it jives, see what comes out, see what else it pairs with. And if any of you else out there who's watching back this deck, let me know how you enjoyed it. I will also be filming a flip through of it, which is not done yet, of course. But I'm kind of interested to see how well this deck performs, just for that reason. All right, and the next deck we're gonna talk about, get my crystal out of there. Some of these decks have crystals, some of them do not, is the Inner Fucking Peace deck. Okay, this is not a new deck. It is a mass market. And it's a Peter Pauper Press deck. This I bought purely for enjoyment. I mean, I curse like a sailor. I am a sarcastic person. And this is a two-sided deck that I think would be great to pull, you know, one card from that is really great. I mean, there's a lot of different designs here, a lot of different colors. I like the fact that it's a square deck. I actually think this is the first deck I have, really, that's square. I mean, I have some mini decks, and of course they're rectangle. But this was my amusement, my $6 amusement buy for the month. So like this one, Busy Transcending Bullshit. pick one thing beyond your control and let it go, just like that. This is the kind of thing that is just the highlight of my day. This is utter amusement. So, as much as this doesn't really seem to jive with any, you know, aesthetic or anything I might have going on, this is kind of the odd one out of, okay, I will probably randomly reach for this to cheer myself up, just to tap in. Same way I do with any, like, say, affirmation deck, or, you know, when I feel called to it, this is going to be fun to play with. And because of the language it brings up and how it addresses things, I really wanted to do this one. So we'll see how this one goes and what readings I end up being called to use this. And if you do have this, how do you like it? I mean, do you find it as amusing as I do? I mean, I know that takes usually a certain type of personality or sense of humor. And because I'm a Scorpio and I can do morbid humor and sassy, sarcastic humor, this deck is definitely something that I will enjoy, whereas others might think it's offensive. I don't think it's offensive. I just think it's funny. And probably very true, considering I flipped through the cards and read some of them. All right. We're going to get into a disappointment now, because this one won't even close. This is the Elemental Wisdom Tarot. This is actually a knockoff deck. This was a freebie. Taroteca Studio. Okay, yeah, this was one of those. I purchased something, got a free deck, and it's a knockoff deck. Granted, if I remember right, the original deck is an indie. I can't even get this back out of the box. There we go. Hey, look at that. And there's still a couple cards stuck. Okay. There is, I do believe the original is an indie, and it is still available. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this deck yet. It was kind of, you know, a surprise, and it is what it is. I'm stuck with it. I can use it. I can disassemble it. I can use it in artwork. Or just use it as is. We'll see where it ends up getting used or tossed away in my collection. I mean, I don't mind the deck. I just was disappointed that it was not actually an original. It was a knockoff. So that was one of my letdowns out of all the decks that I have an influx of. And there's like 7 of these that you're going to be seeing from me today. So yeah, that's a big deal. I'm sorry, I still like the Knight of Cups with the dolphin. But that's just me. So stay tuned on what happens with this deck. I mean, I will do a flip through with this knockoff deck, just so you can see the artwork. I'm sure there's a little bit of color difference between the original and the knockoff. But where it ends up, what I do with it, yeah, that's yet to be determined. And if you have ever had that happen to you before, where you purchased something where you thought it was legit, or you got a freebie and it turns out it's a freebie that you probably would have not have liked to have, then let me know. I mean, seriously, hit me up in the comments and be like, oh yeah, I've had that happen to me, where somebody went, oh, it's a knockoff deck, or yeah, we'll just give it to somebody else and not say up front that it's a knockoff deck, or etc., etc. We'll post something as a legit deck and it's not a legit deck. And you won't know it until you've purchased it. in this box, the box they sent it in, as soon as I got these out of the box, I can't close this once I get it in. I mean, the box is slightly too small for the deck. It barely holds the deck, and then once you try to get the flap in, it's near impossible. So that's another sign, besides the rest of the packaging, that this is not a legit deck. So that's disappointment number one. Okay, now we're going to get into the second disappointment I have out of this round of decks, and that's the Butterfly Oracle cards. This is a Doreen Virtue deck. I bought this off Amazon, and Doreen Virtue decks are usually pretty good, but the problem is that this is a knockoff, and it wasn't listed as a knockoff, and I didn't know it until I got it. There's everything that was on the posting on Amazon that said this was a legit deck. But as soon as I got it in hands and I saw the scan code on the back, I was like, oh gosh, don't tell me that this is a knockoff deck. And I opened it, no guidebook. None whatsoever. So, if any of you have the guidebook, if you have this deck originally, let me know. Is there any information I need to use this deck? I mean, there's a photo and there's a caption at the bottom. It can take me a lot of places. It can be a very intuitive read, I do believe. I think it's still usable even as a knockoff deck, but how much information am I missing out with using a knockoff where there is no guidebook? I mean, if anybody has it, please let me know. Or link me to a version where there is a guidebook and I will repurchase. I mean, I don't mind it the way it is, but yeah, that was one of those oops moments when I realized that the person who was running the store did not say up front that, oh yeah, sorry, this was probably coming from China and it's automatically going to be a knockoff and may or may not be usable. So that's the second and last disappointment out of the 7 or so decks we're going to cover. And the next deck, the Crystal Visions Tarot by Jennifer Glasgow. Okay, this is a US Games deck. This is one that, of course, is mass market. It's been out for a while. And I just didn't have it. And since I was able to get it when it was on sale, I do enjoy the backings, and it does have quite a bit of a border. It taps into more Fae energy and stuff of that like, and that is an area in my collection that I am lacking. So I was like, okay, what's an easy, simple mass market that I could get to maybe try and play with that energy? And this one came up and I was like, okay, I've seen this deck before. I know there's an extra card, which I do believe is entitled The Unknown. So let's go ahead and buy it. We'll give it a try. Yeah, The Unknown card right there. And see what happens. So since I've bought this is still sat there because I'm waiting to do a flip through before I physically start using it. So we'll see how well I tap into this type of energy. There are moments when I have a what is it, Making Magic Ritual deck, where I get a card that does say to work with elementals and Fae energy. And I kind of wanted a deck that tapped into that kind of energy to maybe use when that card comes up to divine more about what that means for me. So we'll see. This could be a really great deck for that, or it could fall flat on its face. We will find out. The other one I was eyeballing to do this with was Tarot of the Hidden Realms, I do believe is what it's called. It's a newer deck, But this one, I was like, okay, I've seen it a little bit more. We'll try it first. And if you guys have this deck or the Hidden Realms one, tell me which one you prefer. Which one works better for you? Which one do you like or dislike, and why? I'd be interested to hear it. And the last deck we're going to cover is one that I missed, apparently, in Kickstarter, or maybe it ruled it out for some reason. I have a feeling it just fell through and I missed it. And that is the Tarot of Oneness by Robyn Voisey. I purposely went to Etsy and purchased this one when she announced a second printing of this deck. And I've been getting more into decks that are a little bit different, filling more niches, stepping more outside my comfort zone with certain things. I do love the packaging of this, and I do love the concept. I'm not big on lots of bright color. I am not big on modern decks. However, I do love these backings and the fact that the edging is in orange. And as much as this is very much a modern deck, the perspective of you being the person in the card is, I love that cherry card, is very much something that started drawing me towards this deck. And I do love the fact that we do get a couple extra cards in this deck. And for a lot of us went out and bought this with the second printing, especially after Lisa Pappas went gaga over this deck. And I really like it. I have to agree, there is something with this deck. So I bought it, hoping to explore more with it. And it's going to take me a while to get used to the renaming of the court suit. Inspiration for page, action for knight, spirit for queen, and embodiment for king. However, this is a unique perspective. I have high hopes for this deck. I have not interviewed this deck yet. So we will see what happens with my interview. After I do a flip through of it and start to use it, what happens? This could be something eye-opening that will be in my forever collection, or it could be something that, as I said, falls flat on its face. However, my expectations are really high, and I'm hoping that this deck does not let me down, because after I started seeing it and started paying attention to it, I got drawn to it so much that I ended up with a little bit of a deck crush on it. So I couldn't not buy it once the second printing was announced. And I've been forcing myself not to use this deck. I wanted to film a new to my collection video. I wanted to film a flip through before I ever did a deck interview or used the deck. So I've been putting myself on pause when it comes to this deck. I want to play with it. I want to reach for it. And I've been telling myself no repeatedly. So that tells you a little bit something about this deck in me, that I've literally forced myself not to play with it. I've been denying myself. Now, whether or not that's a wise thing to do or not, I guess remains to be seen. And if you've ever done that with a deck of, like, I want it so bad, and then you get it and you need to go through a certain process first. Have you ever skipped that and went, oh, no, I'm just going to play with it? Or have you literally forced yourself to stop and withdraw, take a step back and be like, nope, I can wait. Nope, no, I can't. Yes, I can. It's worth the wait. It's worth the wait. I can do this. I can do this. Because this is what's going on with this particular deck. So we'll see where that goes as well. See where it fits in my collection, about what categories and things it's going to function as and teach me. All right, my lovelies. That is all the decks that I have that are new to my collection for the first quarter. of 2023. Tell me which decks you like, which ones you hate, which ones you actually own. I'd love to know. And thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you later. Bye.